Hello, my name is John James. Today I'll be talking to you about the critical assignment gait development presentation. The theories and principles related to each stage of development in early childhood, prenatal nutrition, and overall health of the mother play a great factor in how the child develops and how healthy the child's going to be as far as his nutrition, as far as his physical well-being. Environmental factors also play an important part in all this, and so do socioeconomic factors. If the mother is unable to get proper health care and various nutritions that she might need to ensure that the baby will be healthy, it could definitely affect the way the baby develops over time. And identifying gait abnormalities in early childhood, children with Down syndrome suffer from hypotonia. This just means they lack muscle tone, and will cause delays in their motor milestones. They'll have inabilities to sit up, roll over, and stand, and also affects their ability to grasp things. Basically, it'll be delayed. It'll pick up a little later on, but for the most part, it'll definitely delay some of their motor milestones. Changes in the gait in early childhood. In a toddler's gait, the base support stance is wide to assist in better balance. The stride length is shortened, and the arm swing is pretty much non-present. They pretty much hold their arms in the high guard position. The initial contact and loading response in a toddler is landing flat foot with outward toeing. Mid stance shortened due to lack of balance. The terminal stance is also shortened due to the lack of strength to stand on one leg. The pre-swing and initial swing are short steps with no leg extension. Again, this all comes back to the child's inability. The child doesn't have that much strength to stand on one leg or extend it out any further. The initial swing and mid-swing, there is no hip extension present. And late mid-swing and terminal swing, the child lands flat on one foot with outward toeing. Theories and principles related to childhood, muscular and strength and balance has improved. Tactical localization awareness has also improved. Postural control and reaching and the ability to twist their torso and visual perception becomes more precise. Optical flow gives information about the environment, helping to anticipate surfaces and objects in relation to the body. So basically, everything has been enhanced from when they were an infant. Now they just tend to do all those skills are a little more keen. Gait abnormalities in childhood. Children with autism have less coordination and tend to do a lot of toe walking. The cerebellum linked to the motor deficit and autism affecting connections with the parietal lobe. Impaired vestibular control and fine motor gross motor abnormalities. This also affects their posture and causes instability, therefore affecting their ability to walk properly early on. Changes in gait during early childhood. The base support is a little more narrow now. Obviously, the balance has improved. The stride length has increased. The arms are down by their side. So in some cases, they'll have very little swing, but they still have their arms are by their side. The initial contact and loading response is occurring on the ball over their feet, or they'll still do some tiptoeing and they'll alternate from tiptoeing to walking on the forefront of their foot. The girl in the video, she actually walked on her heels a couple of times. Her mid stance, while it wasn't, I'm sorry, the mid stance maintains balance on one leg while remaining tiptoed. The terminal stance, while she didn't land on her heel, she still was tiptoeing. As her foot left the ground, you could see the weight transfer. So she was walking pretty much like an adult, alternating between tiptoeing and walking on her heels. Theories related to adulthood, uh, perception of body to the environment. They at this point they're recognizing lateral dominance and the preference of using one hand or eye or leg over the other. Auditory perception has improved vastly and informs us where we're at in relation to sound, what's going on in the distance, and how to respond to that. Which also speaks to directionality, having awareness that the body has two distinct sides and is gained through our vision. So we're basically being able to assess information going on around us. Gait abnormalities in adults. Uh, Adults with diabetes, it can cause complications in gait. Foot ulcers and a possible amputation might occur, and foot deformities and loss of nerve function and muscle atrophy. Joint mobility becomes limited. So somebody with diabetes might experience all these things that could definitely affect the way they walk due to nerve damage, or obviously having your foot amputated will definitely affect your gait. And foot ulcers or ongoing foot ulcers in diabetics will cause them to walk with a slight limp or maybe favor one foot over the other. Changes in gait seen in adulthood. The base support is shoulder width apart. The stride length is a longer stride, and they're able to push off of one leg. The arm swing is in opposition to one another. The initial contact and loading response, the heel lands first. The body weight starts to shift. So the mid stance weight is shifted to one leg. Terminal stance, the foot begins to push off the floor. Pre swing and initial swing, the hip is extended to begin the initial swing. Um, Initial swing and mid swing, foot is on the ground and weight is shifted to one leg. And the late mid swing and terminal swing, the heel strikes again, completing the cycle with the double knee lock. Theories related to older adulthood, presbycusis or loss of hearing and sensitivity. Due to hearing loss, people can't understand certain messages, putting them at a disadvantage where they can't hear and thus react to the environment around them. Perception of an object is decreased, unable to distinguish distance. Presbyopia, inability to focus on near objects that affects the way they grasp things, their depth perception, perception of space, loss of fine motor skills, unable to perceive depth. That will greatly affect the way they walk, and again, relation to their environment, so they might tend to bump into some things if they can't judge the distance. Gait abnormalities in adulthood or older adults. Parkinson's causes balance disorder. Parkinson's tend to have reduced heel strike when walking. Older adults tend to use the forefoot to help maintain balance. So with the lady in the video, as you can see, she was kind of shuffling to keep her balance, and also the distance. She didn't lift her foot up off the ground while walking, was more of a drag. Uh, Using the forefront of the foot results in a shorter stride and minimal leg swing. So that's one of the abnormalities in older adults. Changes in the gait in older adults. Base support is still shoulder width apart, toes pointed inward, stride length is greatly reduced. The arm swing more prevalent on one side. For the lady in the video, her right arm tended to swing a little bit wider or longer than the left one. The initial contact and loading response was in the ball or forefront of her foot. Mid stance, shortened weight is shifted quickly back and forth to prevent. She seemed like she was worried about falling, so she would take quicker steps to make sure she was able to maintain her balance. The mid stance was shortened, and the weight was shifted quickly back and forth. Terminal stance, the feet never leave the ground, so there was not much of a terminal stance. In the pre-swing and initial swing, there was no push-off of weight shifted, and the foot was dragged. In the initial swing and mid-swing, knees remained bent throughout. There was no double knee lock present at any point during the video. The late swing, and the late mid-swing, and the terminal swing, there was no double knee lock, and the forefront was the forefront of her feet was where she landed, not on her heel. I'd like to thank you for viewing the video. Be blessed and have a good night.